Hello guys, welcome to week 28 of the Russian Football News Predictions League. Now, Spartak have been crowned champions. Congratulations, Miasa, 16 years and finally the title has arrived. I think it's good for the health of Russian football, in my personal opinion, because I think Spartak will be well placed for Champions League next season. They're not going to win it, of course, they're a long way off that, but they have a good squad, good manager, and if they can hold Quincy Promes, then who knows. But anyhow, congratulations, Spartak, on that. So, in terms of the Predictions League itself, we only have 3 weeks left, of course, and it is starting to get very tight at the top. Brian Repollier is still leading, but we have, behind Brian, from second down to, sorry, just let me get the leaderboard up, from second down to seventh, we only have 7 points separating 6 people. Brian is 8 points ahead of me. But last week was a very difficult week. Only 2 people managed 8 points, and that was the top score. It's the lowest top score we've had all season. Only 4 people in total managed 6 points or more. That's how difficult a week it was. Some surprise results. So, guys, anyhow, we will crack on. We'll run through the games and I'll give you my thoughts and my predictions as usual, and then comment below this video on the Facebook page for this week. Okay, starting off on Friday, so this is tomorrow evening, CSKA Moscow at home to Arsenal Tula. CSKA are 1 point ahead of Zenit in second place. So second place, of course, is the Champions League qualifiers position from the league. Third place is just Europa League, so it's a massive, massive battle still on, even though the title has been decided. CSKA hold the upper hand quite significantly, I would say. They have 2 home games left out of the 3, and Arsenal Tula, who are in the automatic relegation places as we stand, despite being on reasonably good form. However, this is CSKA. They are at home, and even it's almost certain that Alan Zagoyev is out. Even without Zagoyev, they are still the reigning. Well, they were, I should say, the champions last season. They're a good squad, not a big enough squad, and they will need to add to it for next season. But at the moment, Zoran Tosic is most likely to come back in, to the side after Kirill Nabavkin's dreadful performance in the Moscow derby. So, Berezovsky might not play as well. That's one possible doubt at the back. But other than that, I think it's a fairly solid win for CSKA at home. And that will put pressure on Zenit, who are playing away at Krylia. That's a tricky fixture, that. Krylia fighting for survival, Zenit on slightly uncertain form. CSKA, though, I'm going to go for a solid home win. I'm going to go for 2-0 to CSKA. Arsenal, of course, have terrible away form, so not much hope from there, I'm afraid. On to Saturday, Ural against Krasnodar. I will be in Yekaterinburg reporting live for Russian Football News. I'll be making some videos and updates as usual. That is a 10 a.m. UK kickoff, 11 a.m. Central European time kickoff. So it's the early kickoff on Saturday. Krasnodar, well, as far as they're concerned, they are in control of the race for Europa League. They're in 4th place at the moment. They're 3 points ahead of Rostov and Terek. But all 3 of their remaining games, are away from home, and they have been very poor away from home. They've only won 3 all season. They've only scored 9 goals on the road, which is pretty poor for a team in their position. Fyodor Smolov, don't make me cry. Fyodor Smolov is suspended, and he will not be travelling to Yekaterinburg to see his old side, who he played on loan 2 years ago with his previous mentor, Alexander Tarkhanov. I'm gutted because I was going to present him with the Russian Football News Player of the Year award. There is still hope. I'm going to ask him personally if he will go to Yekaterinburg. I'm not sure he'll listen, but anyhow, I can dream, right? In terms of the game itself, Ural, yes, they're on poor form in the league. They've lost the last 4, and if you include the Russian Cup final, that's the last 5 competitive games they've lost in a row. However, I would qualify that by pointing out that they played Spartak and Zenit away from home, and the Terek game before the Russian Cup final, clearly they rested a whole bunch of players. So that's 3 games I'm not saying you can excuse it completely, but it's understandable why those 3 games were lost. The Russian Cup final, they were outplayed, which actually only really leaves last week as the truly disappointing result against Krylia at home. Before the Krylia game, they had been reasonably strong at home. So, I don't know, Krasnodar, they're without Mamayev, without Fyodor Smolov. They are poor away from home. Ural they need to be careful. This is one of the last opportunities for them to just make sure they're safe from relegation. Only 3 points clear of Orenburg, who are in the highest relegation place. So, I actually think Ural are going to get a draw here. I'm going to go for 1-1 because Krasnodar, even without Smolov and Mamayev, they have some fantastic attacking players. Ural's defence is pretty poor. They have conceded the second highest number of goals all season, other than rock bottom Tom Tomsk, which doesn't bode well. However, Vladimir Ilyin is scoring reasonably well, and I still think they will get a result because they have to fight for their survival. Moving on, Amkar Spartak. Well, Spartak are now champions, so they, in one sense, don't have anything to play for at all. They've wrapped up the title for the first time in 16 years, so is there much motivation travelling all the way to PM? Amkar themselves, well, they also have absolutely nothing left to play for. They're on 34 points. Mathematically, they could still be in the relegation playoff zone, 8 points clear of 3 games to go, but it's very unlikely that they will be dragged into that. And their home form has been relatively poor. It's actually quite a hard game to call this one because they both have, in theory, they have very little to play for. Amkar's form has been so poor, I'm actually going to go for a Spartak win anyway. I don't think Massimo Carrera is the sort of guy who will just let his side relax. He will want to go out with a win in as much of the remaining fixtures as he can. And I actually think they'll win this one. I don't think it'll be exciting, but I think it will be a 1-0 to Spartak. Most likely Quincy Promes yet again involved. Next up, Krylia Zenit. Now this game is crucial for both sides for obviously wildly contrasting reasons. Zenit, of course, like I mentioned, they are 1 point behind CSKA in the race for Champions League qualification, which is utterly critical for them and their business model, as is widely known. Krylia, of course, they want to survive relegation. Now, Krylia, they've only lost 1 game in the last 5. They've won 2 of those, and they're only 1 point behind Orenburg in 13th. But if they wish to escape for certain, so if they want to escape the relegation playoff zone, they have 4 points to make up on Ural with 3 games to go, which is perfectly possible. And of course, they want to avoid automatic relegation. Only 1 point behind them is Arsenal. So, plenty to play for both. Krylia, they are, like I say, they are on decent form. Zenit, well, you just don't know which Zenit side is going to turn up. In terms of any injury news, Alexander Kokorin is out for Zenit. Their long-term injuries, Viktor Fayzulin, Alexander Zyantsev and Ivan Novotseltsev, of course, they're all out, but that's nothing new. Oleg Shatov is suspended after being sent off in the defeat to Terek. So the attacking 3, behind Artem Dzyuba, who of course will start. I'm not exactly sure who will play there. Perhaps Johan Molo will get a game against his old club. Ivan Taranov, Artem Khromov and Ali Gajibukov all injured. Milan Rodic is doubtful. Oh, tough one to call. Well, personally, I'm going to go for a draw here. I think that Krylia have possibly, it's going to sound odd, but even slightly better form in the sense that they're grounding out the results that they need. All the rumours about Mircea Lucescu's future being not tapped up but approached by Turkish clubs, I think he certainly will leave, and they're distracted. They're not in the right frame of mind. Krylia is not an easy place to go. Don't forget, Krylia beat Spartak 4-0 earlier in the season. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm actually going to go for 0-0. There could well be goals in this one, but I actually don't think there will be. I think it will be a tense match that will suit Krylia much more than Zenit. Zenit will get frustrated. I see a 0-0 draw there. Okay, moving on to Lokomotiv in the late kickoff on Saturday at home to Orenburg. Lokomotiv, the Russian Cup champions, bastards. As you know, I'm an Ural follower and supporter, but they did deserve the Russian Cup win. They have the Russian Cup win. They have their European qualification. And again, they are one of the mid-table sides who are mathematically safe from relegation, but have absolutely no motivation nor mathematical possibility of getting Europa League through league placings. So really, what is there to play for? However, they are the better side. They are playing Orenburg at home, and Orenburg, well, they have the motivation though. They are 3 points behind Ural in the last relegation playoff place. So again, tough one to call. Orenburg at home, they've won 5 games out of the 13. They've only lost 4, only conceded 10 in 13 home games, which is pretty impressive for anybody, let alone a relegation-threatened side. So what do we see happening here? Well, pardon me. For this one, I'll just check the injury news if this will actually load up. There we go, thank you. Dmitry Barinov is suspended for Lokomotiv. Igor Portnyagin and Vedran Chorluka, long-term injuries, so nothing new there. Mikhail Kerzhakov still out in goal for Orenburg. Adesoy Adewole is doubtful, as is Dmitry Abakumov, both with minor injuries. I still think Lokomotiv will win this one, actually. Orenburg are very poor away from home. Like I mentioned, they've only lost 4 times at home, but they've only won once away from home. They've only scored 9 in 14 away games. They do have 2 home games to fall back on, so I'm going to go for Lokomotiv win. 1-0 to Lokomotiv for me. Tom Tomsk against Terek on Sunday. Tom mathematically are down, and they realistically have been down for a long time. We've known that for some time. Terek, however, well, they are hot on the tails of Krasnodar, only 3 points behind them, and they have won the last 3 games, which is, well, it actually equals their best run of wins, the most wins in the league since I believe it's something like 5 or 6 years. They've not won more than 3 in a row in the league for that length of time. They do, however, have 3 away games to finish on. So it's going to be tough for them to overhaul Krasnodar. They face Spartak, the champions, next up, which is midweek next week, and then Krylia they finish on. However, at the moment, mathematically, we still have the motivation there. So I actually think Terek will win this one. Ablay Mbengue is on good scoring form. So I'm going to go for 1-0 to Terek. Hold on, just let me double check any injury news just in case. Where are we? Come here. Sorry, I'm just skipping through my previews that I've written out for this very purpose. Come on, where are you? Sorry about this. Terek Tom, there we go. Well, in terms of injury news, it's not a great deal. Tomsk also have Alexander Sobolyov suspended, so that won't help their cause. So, yeah, I'm going for a 1-0 to Terek win. Okay, we've got to rattle on quickly. I'm running out of time here. Ufa against Anji. Ufa at home to Anji. Anji are 4 points clear of relegation. They still have to make sure that they don't put themselves under any undue pressure on that front. And they have proven to be adept at getting draws. They have drawn the last 3 or 4, I think it is, in a row. Kahinde Fatah is out for Ufa. Ufa themselves, well, in terms of the league table, they are like Lokomotiv. They're mathematically incapable of getting Europa League, and they are mathematically safe from relegation. I am very simply going to go for a draw here. Suits Anji much more. Ufa have not much motivation, and they're bizarrely not as strong at home as they are away. So I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw. Rostov at home to Rubin. Okay, I've got to wrap it quickly because I'm really running out of time. Rostov, well, they are 3 points behind Krasnodar, just like Terek. They are on a great run of form. They did finally concede a goal at home. We're still conceded twice at home, which is quite incredible. Rubin, well, they are, say again, like Lokomotiv Ufa, they're in mid-table, safe from relegation. So I see a Rostov win here. I'm going to go for a 1-0 to Rostov. Okay, guys, best of luck, and I'll be back with more updates and updated tables very soon. Bye-bye.